What is up, guys? Sophie here, back with another topic. If you are new here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can stay updated on all of my content. And also don't forget to check the description box because I always put a lot of stuff in there, particularly my group that is launching January 2021. You can join it anytime, but you might want to join now. And it is how to read the Bible in 1 year. And I think it will be so fun, which is why I wanted to list some of the most not even scandalous, scandal stories in the Bible. Because when you start reading the Bible, you feel like, they cannot make this stuff up because some of this stuff is so scandalous that there's no way that this could be fake. So let's go ahead and get right on into it, shall we? So the first story is the story of the first Tamar, not Tamar, the son of David, but Tamar, who literally tricked her father-in-law to getting her pregnant. I know. So here's what happened. Tamar had married her husband, and her husband died because God saw him to be wicked. And so in that particular time, it was like a man's duty in the family to redeem what their brother could not. The father was like, okay, he told Tamar, let me go ahead and give you my son, and you could sleep with your brother's wife, which was Tamar, in order to fulfill your brother-in-law's duty. So it was known as like a guardian redeemer. And in the book of Ruth, we see that Boaz was a guardian redeemer, right? To basically redeem your brother's offspring. But the brother basically pulled out. I know that sounds so nasty, but it literally says this in the Bible. He pulled out because he did not want to get Tamar pregnant, and the Lord then struck him dead as well. So then the father-in-law had another son, and he was like, Tamar, when he grows up, I'm going to give you him as a husband. And he told Tamar to go live in his house somewhere and wait for the boy to grow up. So Tamar, feeling jilted, forgotten about, like she wasn't getting her inheritance, she wasn't getting her man, she came up with this plan to trick her father-in-law into getting her pregnant. So when she found out that the father-in-law was on his way to where she was, she took off her widow's clothes. She dressed up basically as a prostitute. When the father-in-law saw her, he was like, I want to sleep with you, because he thought that she was a prostitute. So she was like, and he was like, I'm gonna give you a goat, basically payment for your sex. So she was like, to make sure that you fulfill your promises, what are you going to give me in order to ensure that I get this goat? So he gave her his seal and his cord and his staff. So then he slept with her. Homegirl got pregnant. 3 months down the line, literally they was about to stone Tamar, because you couldn't be fornicating back in the day, because they felt that she had been, basically out there. So then Tamar was like, I am pregnant by the person who owns this seal and this cord. The father saw the seal and he was like, well, dang, I slept with her. And he actually felt bad because he had broken his promise to her to give his youngest son to her. He called her righteous. I know, righteous. Okay. Because I guess she was trying to go out and get hers. And then she had given birth to twins, and she basically got what she wanted. The second scandalous story I'm going to get into is Lot's daughters. So I don't know if this is the thing with tricking men into like impregnating them, but literally Lot's daughters tricked Lot, which is their father, into getting them pregnant. So the backstory is that Lot and his family lived in Sodom and Gomorrah. God decided to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot's wife also died because she looked back and God told them not to, and she was turned into a pillar of salt. So basically Lot and his daughters were hiding in a cave, and his daughters felt some type of way because everything was destroyed. They felt like they wasn't going to have any men to have any children. So their bright idea was to get their father drunk. Both daughters, first night, the oldest daughter got the father drunk. He was not aware of what the freak was going on. And so she had sex with her father and got pregnant. And the next day, I guess the younger daughter was like, okay, it worked for her. Let me go ahead and do this too. And so the second daughter got him drunk the second night again, and then slept with their father so that they could get pregnant by their dad. So at this point, it was like their brother / children. And you can actually read this entire story in Genesis 19. Number 3 comes from Genesis 20, and this is about Abraham. And I know that we all like to think Abraham was super righteous, and he was, but homeboy had some problems as well, right? Because he decided to give his wife away, claim his wife was his sister, and basically give his wife away to have sex with. And if you remember later on when it comes to Abraham, Sarah also gave Abraham away to her maidservant so that he can have a baby. So I'm not sure if they just want to share each other with each other. So basically, Abraham knew that his wife Sarah was very attractive. He was entering into a new province. And so he basically told the king that she was his sister, and he benefited greatly. He got gifts, he got money, he got a whole bunch of stuff in this particular situation. And then God was like, okay, enough. So God came to the king in a dream and was like, yo, you are good enough as dead, because the woman that you are sleeping with is not Abraham's sister, but she is his wife. And then the king got up and basically was like, what is wrong with you? Why did you tell me that this was your sister and let me have sex with her? Go take your wife, take your stuff, and bounce. But later on, Sarah also did this with Abraham, where they was just giving each other out to have sex with other people in order for their own benefit. Abraham got financial benefit by basically pimping out his wife, and Sarah got a child through her maidservant in order to, because she couldn't have kids. So number 4, we knew that we could not stop the scandalous, because David, a man after God's own heart, was also very scandalous when it comes to Bathsheba. Most of y'all probably already know the story. You can read it in 2 Samuel 11, but basically David saw Bathsheba naked on the rooftop. He lusted after her, invited her over to his house, and basically started sleeping with her. The problem is that homegirl was already married. Not only was she married, but her husband was off in war, basically fighting for David. So then when David gets Bathsheba pregnant, he then tries to cover up his sin by inviting her husband back home from war, trying to encourage him to sleep with Bathsheba to basically pass the baby off as Bathsheba's husband. Then it didn't work, because Bathsheba's husband was like, oh, he was all honorable. He was like, no, I can't go home and sleep with my wife because all of the other soldiers are out fighting on the front lines, and how dare I get comfort in a woman? So I'm just going to sleep outside because I know that all of my soldiers are sleeping outside because I want to be one with them, basically. So once he saw that it was not working and he was not going to be able to cover up this pregnancy, he basically sent word to put Bathsheba's husband on the front line, specifically because he knew that he was going to get killed, because the front lines is where most of the action happened. And that is exactly what happened. He intentionally got Bathsheba's husband killed because he wanted to cover up the fact that he had gotten this woman pregnant, Bathsheba. And because his first plan did not work, to have Bathsheba sleep with her husband to basically, pawn the baby off as his, then he decided to basically commit murder. And the 5th and final scandalous story is the story of Amnon and Tamar, which is the children of David by 2 different women. And this is scandalous, but also out of all the Bible stories, whenever I read this one is just so sad, because Amnon basically fell in love with his half-sister Tamar, and he pretended to be sick one day in his room, and David was like, what's wrong with you? He was like, oh, I need my sister Tamar to come and basically feed me. So David sent his daughter up there to Amnon, which was a plot because Amnon planned to rape her, and that is exactly what he did. So after he raped Tamar, Tamar practically begged for her brother to marry her because it was very shameful for her virginity to be broken. And also, as soon as he had sex with her, it basically said all his desire for her faded. So basically he got his rocks off, and then he did not want her anymore. He basically pretended like he didn't know homegirl, and he told his servant to basically get her and kick her out of his room. He didn't refuse to marry her, and she ran away crying. She ripped her royal robes to symbolize that she was no longer a virgin, and she went to live away in obscurity. She never got married or anything, and she basically lost her mind. The kicker about this is that Absalom, who was Tamar's full brother, basically came to David and was like, you need to do something about this. David did not handle it accordingly. Tamar went away traumatized and sent up into obscurity. Then she wasn't protected because David, her father, although he did not like what happened, he really did not do anything. Absalom then took it upon himself to kill Amnon, which was his half brother, because he felt that, not enough was being done for him to ruin his sister's honor. And then he went ahead and went to war with his own father because he felt like his father was, I guess, weak, basically. So that is the most that is not only the scandalous, but honestly, it's one of those things that kind of break my heart to know that this woman was not protected. Whole family got taken apart because David should have never sent her up there. I don't care if it was her brother. And then that's what ruined the entire family because Absalom ended up getting killed in war as well. So to me, not only was this scandalous, but it was just a really sad story altogether. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. These are the 5 scandal stories of the Bible, which of course to me makes the Bible so interesting, which is why you should join my Facebook group. It is 100% free. The link will be down below because I feel like we need to read the mistakes that happened to people way back then. Abraham and David was both known as quote unquote, and Lot was known as righteous people, but as you can tell, they all had their incest, family issues, because all of this was kind of incest. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check the description box, and I will see you guys and talk to you guys another day, another time. Bye, guys. Not ready for the show to end? It doesn't have to. You can head over to my site where you can read hundreds of articles. And also you can feel free to shop my store where I have all of my products for sale. And last but not least, for even more video content, feel free to visit my YouTube channel where I talk about a wide array of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay blessed.